Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on a powerful, invisible force that shapes our lives, the unwritten social rules that guide every single word we speak.
Take this sentence. On the surface, it seems simple enough, right? It's just a teenager named Ray telling his mom why he's late. But to a sociolinguist, there is so much more going on under the hood. This isn't just a complaint, it's a dense package of social information.
So how is that possible? How can one teenager's choice of words reveal his feelings, his relationships, and his place in the world? Well, let's break it down and see how this single sentence unlocks an entire social universe.
You see, every time we talk, we're sending out these little signals about who we are, where we're from, and our relationship with the person we're talking to. We all follow these rules, and most of the time we don't even think about it. So get ready, because we're about to uncover the hidden patterns behind our daily conversations.
Okay, let's dive right in. The first thing to get your head around is this. We all have a kind of linguistic wardrobe. And for every social situation, we intuitively pick out a different style of speaking, just like choosing an outfit for an occasion.
Let's go back to Ray for a sec. Just think about his word choices. With his mother, he can call his teacher a bastard. That signals a close, informal relationship. But you can bet he's not saying that to the principal's face. In that context, the word is sir, which immediately signals formality and respectful distance.
And it's not just about swapping out a word here and there. The entire structure of our sentences changes depending on the social context. With a friend, a question is short, it's direct. But in a formal setting, like a courtroom, that exact same request becomes super detailed and formal. Same goal, totally different social playbook.
So all this tailoring of our speech, it builds up to something even more powerful. Language isn't just about navigating different situations. It's about tapping into one of our deepest human needs, the need to belong, to show solidarity with our tribe.
And one of the main ways we signal this belonging is through something linguists call code switching. This is when people who speak more than one language or dialect kind of weave them together in one conversation. It's often totally unconscious, and it's all about connecting with the person you're talking to.
You even see this within what we think of as a single language. Take French. A Parisian's travail is a job in Montreal. These aren't mistakes or just weird local slang. They're deliberate choices that build identity. They're signals that say, hey, I'm one of you. We get each other.
And check out this fantastic modern example. In London, young people from a ton of different ethnic backgrounds have actually created a brand new dialect. They're not using old-school London slang. They call friends blood instead of mate, and trainers are crepes. They're literally using language to forge a new, shared, multicultural identity that sets them apart from older generations.
But it's not all about fitting in and being part of the group. Our speech is also profoundly deeply shaped by power, by status, and, where we sit on the social ladder.
I mean, have you ever stopped to wonder why one way of speaking is considered correct or standard? Well, it's almost never because it's linguistically better. Standard English, for example, became the standard simply because it was the dialect spoken by the most powerful people, the folks at the English royal court and at universities like Oxford and Cambridge.
And this link between speech and power became so strong that one single accent, received pronunciation, or RP, basically became the audible signal of belonging to the English upper class. It wasn't better, it just sounded like prestige.
And we can actually see these shifts happening in real time. In New Zealand, younger speakers are way more likely to drop the hard T sound at the end of a word, like bat. They replace it with this little catch in the back of their throat. What was once seen as a non-standard feature is becoming the new norm. It just goes to show how language and status are always on the move.
So, here's the bottom line. Your position in a hierarchy shapes your language every single day. Someone with higher status, like a teacher, can just use a direct command, but someone with lower status, talking to their boss, they'll soften it, turning it into a polite, indirect question. Same request, totally different power dynamic at play.
Now, here's where it gets really dramatic. When you take these two massive forces, the need to belong and the pressures of status, and you let them play out over centuries, the stakes become incredibly high. We're talking about the actual life and death of entire languages.
In 2011, this number, just the number 2, sent a shiver down the spine of the linguistics world. Just 2.
That was the total number of fluent speakers left of an indigenous Mexican language called Ayapaneco. Think about that. A language that had survived for centuries was now right on the brink of vanishing forever.
But here's the kicker, the really tragic part. Those last two speakers weren't talking to each other. But see, the real story wasn't just some personal feud. The language was dying because of larger social forces, like urbanization and having to learn Spanish, the language of power, in school. It's just a brutal example of how social pressure can literally erase a language from existence.
But even when a language is right on the edge of extinction, there can be hope. If that social desire for a unique identity, that need for solidarity, is strong enough, a language can be brought back from the dead. Just look at Hebrew. It was effectively a dead spoken language for 1,700 years, but it was successfully revived by sheer force of will and national identity.
Okay, so we've talked about style, solidarity, status, the whole shebang. So what's the big takeaway for our own lives every time we open our mouths to speak?
It means that every single conversation is this delicate, complex balancing act. With every word, every accent, every turn of phrase, you are subconsciously negotiating between your fundamental need to connect with your group and the social pressures of the world around you.
And this might be the most profound truth of all. Linguistically, no language is better or worse than any other. As the great linguist Edward Sapir put it, they are all equally complex, equally capable of expressing the full range of human thought. The value we assign to them, the status we give them, that's all a human social invention.
So the next time you talk to your boss, or your best friend, or your parents, listen closely. You're not just choosing words, you are performing your identity. You're constantly broadcasting to the world who you are, where you've come from, and where you belong. So what is your voice saying about you?